If you're a business owner, then you've probably heard about artificial intelligence taking over the world of marketing. Everyone seems to be really shouting about how AI can do all of the work for you, right? Everything from writing blog posts to managing your emails to, dare I say, even closing sales. It kind of sounds like a dream, right? But there is a catch. AI is incredibly powerful. We use it in our business, but it's definitely not magic. It's not something that I feel is a replacement for really smart, human centered strategy when it comes to your marketing. So, in fact, if you really dive in without a clear plan, then you can actually damage your brand instead of improving it. So today I wanted to talk through what AI can actually do really well for you, what is completely overhyped, and where the biggest dangers lie. And I really want you to walk away feeling confident about using AI to support your marketing while keeping everything that really makes your brand special human. Hello and welcome to another episode of Digital Marketing Made Simple. I'm your host, Jenny Lyon, and today I want to talk about the truth about AI marketing, what works, what's hype, and what's potentially dangerous. Let's jump into it. Okay, so here's a snapshot of what we'll cover today. So first I want to start by how AI can really help you to simplify your marketing and save time, why set it and forget it is really a myth, how to protect your brand voice when you're using these different types of automation, the privacy and ethics concerns that you really just cannot ignore, and how to really build out an AI powered system that supports you instead of replacing you. So, step one is you really have to start with strategy. Strategy always comes first. And I know how tempting it can be to just, jump right into it and start using one of the shiny new AI tools. It feels like everyone is using everything from ChatGPT to Jasper or copy generators, and you might be thinking, you know what, if I just plug in a prompt or two, I may not have to ever write again. But the truth is, if you really start automating without a plan, then you're basically letting a robot guess what your brand should sound like, how you want to connect with people, and what makes you different. And really, that's where the risk comes in. So instead, I really urge you to pause. Ask yourself, what's my brand voice and how do I want it to feel? Which parts of my marketing could be supported with AI? And which ones does it make the most sense to really stay human-centered? And what do I actually want to achieve with AI? Is it to save time? Is it to grow your overall reach? Is it to test your content? If you sit down and you really think about these questions, you can build out a plan that makes sense. This way you can set different types of boundaries. That way AI doesn't take over in the places in your business that it doesn't belong. So here's a little pro tip. You can test AI on one tiny piece of your marketing. So you could use it for something like subject lines or your social media captions. Test it, see how it works before you really go all in on it. Step two is forget, set it and forget it. This is a really big myth that I'm seeing a lot right now out there. And it's one of those things that really, as a marketing expert, makes me cringe. The idea that you can turn on any AI tool, automate everything in your business, and then just disappear. It's really unrealistic. AI is really powerful, but it still needs you to guide it. And if you really do just leave it completely alone, then you will end up with outdated messages, there's going to be mistakes, or there's going to be content that just feels generic, doesn't feel like you, and might feel stale over time. And it might even start to break that trust with your audience. So instead, I've been urging my clients to really think about AI as a helpful assistant. You're still there. You're still the CEO of your marketing, and you need to review what your assistant is producing. Just like if you hired an admin assistant or a marketing assistant, you would check in on what they were doing and do that on a regular basis. Whether you're spending time, I like to spend time each month I want to review my workflows. I want to make sure that my messaging is still relevant in the areas that we're using AI. We don't use it everywhere. And we also want to keep that human involvement. It's really that critical checkpoint. So I think that is really important. I also have been asking for audience feedback. What do you think of this type of content? I use it mostly for things like outlines or, ideas. I think it's great for idea generation. And really stay curious about what's working and what's not working. So a pro tip here is really even the best tools are only as good as the human leading it. Step 3 is to protect your brand voice. So, your brand voice is one of your most important assets. It's the reason that customers feel connected to you. They hear your tone, your style, the way that you explain things, and you really have built that trust with them. When you start to use AI, then there does become this risk of watering the voice down. So if you feed the tool bland, generic prompts, then you're going to get back bland, generic content. And that really means that your brand will start sounding like every other business out there because everybody's using the same tools. And that really is the fastest way to disappear in a crowded market. So instead, if you're using AI tools, you want to teach it how to talk. Give it examples of your very best content. Write very clear tone guidelines. Be picky about what you approve. And definitely do not skip the human editing. You really want to edit everything before you hit publish. So again, collect those best writing samples, create some sort of a style guide with key phrases, do's and don'ts, and audit your content. Do that every single month to make sure that your voice is still shining through. So a pro tip here is that your brand voice is really just too valuable to leave to chance. So really guard it carefully. Really think about how you want to use AI in your marketing. Step 4 is to respect the data and ethics, of course, because let's be real, AI runs on data, right? That means that you're feeding it in information about your audience, your clients, maybe even personal details. And if you don't protect the data, then you definitely will most likely break the trust and you could potentially get into legal issues. So always use very secure, reputable platforms. Be upfront about what you're using, AI for, what data you're collecting. Your audience wants to know what data you're collecting and how are you using it. And really stay aware of the different types of privacy laws out there, like GDPR. Data privacy it's not just a checkbox, it's really a relationship builder. Clients want to know that you care about their privacy and that you will not sell or misuse their data. A pro tip here is to review your privacy policy. Every time that you add a new tool or process, just to stay ahead of any type of issues. Step 5 is to empower your team. Please don't replace them, right? This is one of the biggest fears that I hear from business owners, and I've heard it a lot from my own team as well. They think, oh my gosh, are you going to replace me with AI? No, I'm definitely not. And then they wonder, what if I add AI and my team feels like I'm replacing them? And a lot of my clients have brought that very question to me, and it's a valid concern, and it is the reason why you need to bring your team along for the journey. AI should really make your team's lives easier, not eliminate their value. So let them know how you want to use AI. You want to get rid of maybe the boring, repetitive tasks. That way your team can spend more time on strategy or creative ideas or even connecting with your customers. So just include your team in the testing of new tools. I'm doing this right now. My team on setting up automations. We're really working together to see what type of repetitive tasks can we cut out so we can build more value for our customers. And offer training. That way your team feels confident and supported using the new tools. And of course, celebrate how human and AI collaboration can really make your marketing or any parts of your business that you're automating even stronger. When your team feels involved, they really will start to champion these tools instead of feeling threatened by them. So if your team's excited, then your customers will feel that energy too. So you might be thinking, I've been dabbling in AI, maybe I want to try it. So where do you even start? So I really do believe that AI can be a really incredible tool to help you scale your business. It's really great for saving time and streamlining, but it's never going to replace that human strategy, empathy, personal touches, those things that will definitely make your brand stand out and shine. So start by having a really solid plan. Make sure that you're protecting that brand voice and just stay involved. You can use AI to support your team rather than replace them. And you can get the best of both worlds when you do that. So you're looking at the speed of AI and the connection of having that human element in your business. And if you want more information or you're ready to start, testing out the AI waters, I do have a new free AI marketing readiness checklist for you. That way you can see exactly where you stand before diving in, and you can grab that at jennylyon.com/AI. But let's work together. Let's make your marketing smarter and more human together. All right, guys. Well, that's what I have for you this week. I hope you found these tips on getting started with AI helpful. I hope it maybe will entice you to give it a try. If you do have questions, you need help, this is something that we really have started to do so much more lately than ever before. And that's why I've kind of been in and out a lot more than I have been in the past, is because we've been pivoting and shifting things because a lot of our clients are asking for different types of help with AI. So that's what we're doing. We're doing a lot of AI automations, integrations, trainings, you name it. So if you do need help, please reach out. You can always schedule a free call with my team at jennylyon.com/team or marketing. And yeah, get on our calendar. We'll be happy to talk to you and, see where you can use AI in your business, what makes sense, and how we can simplify your overall workflows. So again, you can do that at jennylyon.com/marketing. And I'll see you next time on another episode of Digital Marketing Made Simple. See you soon.